Are you winning? Do you need help in your life or business? Could you use some inspiration, business strategies, and success principles? I'm Daniel Gomez, award-winning business coach, keynote speaker, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you create a successful life and elevate your business. Together, we will discover the keys that unlock your success and dreams. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you, and today we're going to educate you too. I'll tell you what, we got a special guest today in the studios, and dear friend of mine, just love spending time with her. And every time I go to Denver with our community, it's just a great time because I always learn something new. Let's welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Miss Wendy Watson. How you doing, Wendy?
Hi, I am doing fabulous. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing amazing. Excited to be here with you on the show. And I know the amazing, beautiful human being you are. Do me a favor.
Oh.
Take a moment to take a short introduction and introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, please.
Hi, guys. I am Wendy Watson, CEO and spiritual therapist at TBR Spiritual Health. And I help to show you what's possible when you connect the voice of reason, the spirit of God, your spirit, with you and your daily intentions and your daily goals and your tasks and everything.
You know what I love about you is you're always smiling. You always have this your smile, the charisma, the energy that you have. You meet so many business owners that walk around that they look like they're mad, right? They look like they're mad. And then they come up and you're having a conversation, and then something that comes out during the introduction of the conversation, well, my business isn't doing great. And I'm like, I wonder why.
They look so focused. And I have experienced this myself too, but you get so focused on the day-to-day tasks and what needs to be done that you don't pay attention to this.
Yes.
And you don't pay attention to this. So how can you stop for a moment and just be with yourself and feel your heart in what you do so that you can get the task done and you can attract the people and attract the clients or attract the opportunities that you want to have?
So let me ask you this. Were you always as smiley as you are today? Or is this something that you had to, you're like, let me be.
No.
Well, I say that because I think I've always been just Daniel, right? I've always been smiling and the life of the party. That's just kind of my personality.
Mhm.
But in all seriousness, like people come up to me and they look mad, right? And I'm like, man, like if you don't look approachable in your face, right? If you're unapproachable here, well, then people ain't gonna want to talk to you about your business, and that's gonna hurt what you're doing, no matter what type of business you have.
Yeah.
So talk to us. So what did Wendy do to go from, we'll just say the not smiling Wendy to the Wendy she is today?
From the angry, selfish, introvert Wendy to this.
No, you're lying there. I don't see you being introverted.
For sure. 15 years ago, I was a completely different person. If I went into a bar, I wouldn't talk to anybody unless they talked to me first. I was not introverted. So part of something that I wanted was to become more introverted. And so I changed careers.
You mean extrovert, right? You want to be
Extrovert, yes. I wanted to be more extrovert. So I changed. So I was given the opportunity to change careers when I got restructured from corporate America back in 2009. And I decided that I wanted my next career to force me to be more extrovert and connect with people. And so I got into massage therapy.
So if I would have met you 15 years ago, what you're saying is I wouldn't have liked you?
No.
That's
A
good.
lot of people didn't.
Because you would have probably liked me either 15 years ago. Well, you know what? Well, maybe we would have liked each other in a sense. We would have still been friends because I was pretty selfish back then too. But in all like seriousness,
Yes.
in all seriousness, right? Like what happened to you that you said, maybe I need to change a little bit? Like, right, this is it. This isn't who I want to be.
Yeah.
And what was the light that came on? What was that aha moment for Wendy Watson that really kind of awoken you?
So my aha moment was when My audit manager came to me when I was working in corporate America, and I was working in the accounting department. And I had this very much perfectionist personality and didn't accept no, because I was raised by entrepreneurs, and you don't say no, you find the yes, you figure it out. Well, that doesn't work in accounting. And so he came to me and he's like, look, as long as 70% of the invoices go through without incident, 20% get escalated and 10% we write off, that is our goal. And it was like, like a big light came on. And it's just like, wait, I don't have to be perfect. And I was like, holy moly, I don't have to be perfect. And so I took that permission and ran with it. And because I didn't feel pressured to be perfect, I wasn't putting the pressure on other people, which means our relationship, our connection wasn't so tense, and it was a lot easier. And I started looking at that in the terms of communication. And I realized that of the people that were around me at that time, 70% of what people communicated to me was their own stuff, their own beliefs, their own fears, their own imprints, their own habits, whatever it was. 10% was only personal to me, and 10% might have, 20% might have been like a blend. So if only 10% is personal to me and to the conversation at hand, why am I paying attention to the other 90% or taking it in or taking it personal and being offended by it?
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is a part of the show where I tell you, you know the routine. Get out your pen, get out your paper because you want to take some massive notes because what you write down, you retain over 50% of it. And we're about to go deeper here with Wendy Watson, and you definitely want to write this down. So I want to ask the audience this because you opened up with an amazing, powerful statement. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to write this question down. Where do you think you need to be perfect? Maybe you're struggling with that right now. Maybe you have a need for perfection. Maybe you're the old Wendy where you thought you had to be 100% perfect and you're putting undue pressure on yourself. And because you're putting undue pressure on yourself as a husband, as a wife, as a husband, as a father, as a student, a son, a daughter, an employee, you're trying to be perfect and there's no such thing as perfection. So you're miserable. Write that question down. Why am I trying to be perfect? And what was the root cause of you trying to be perfect, Wendy?
Because I was raised by entrepreneurs and you just don't say no. My mom was she was in real estate and she was a director and all the things. And my dad was a contractor. He owned his own construction company. And being 16 years old, being the boss's daughter, being a female on a construction site, and grown men not wanting to take orders from you, you really had to be assertive, but you also had to find a way to please the client. In construction, there is no, I can't give you this. You have to find a way to give it to you. You have to think outside the box. And that really made an imprint. So there was no, you can't tell me that there's no way to do this. There's got to be a way to do it. You've got to be able to find the workaround.
So would you say it's unhealthy? If somebody's listening to this episode right now, and I really feel there's somebody listening to this that really needs to hear this, is
Yes,
in the need to chase perfection, it's causing your unhappiness, is what you're saying.
absolutely. Yes, because you're always chasing something that you're never going to find. We are humans.
It's
We
kind of
are
like,
not perfect.
the picture I got when I just said that is it's kind of like chasing the horizon. When you chase the horizon, no matter if you're walking or if you jog towards it, or if you get on the bike and ride towards it, no matter how
Mhm.
fast you run or ride or even get on a car and speed towards it, you're never going to catch the horizon. There's always going to be that distance from you and the horizon. It never lessens. It stays the same. And I think people miss that sometimes.
You could be in the fastest jet plane that we've made, and you're still never going to reach the horizon.
That's perfection also then, would you say?
It's a strive for perfection.
Yeah. So maybe you're listening to this right now, ladies and gentlemen, and you've been thinking, I'm striving for perfection, but it's causing you your happiness. And maybe your relationships around you, whether they're with your employee, with your boss, with whoever it may be, you're taking that frustration out on them because you're not even realizing that you're chasing something that you're never going to attain. I want you to give yourself a break right now, ladies and gentlemen, and understand that there's no such thing as perfection. Write this down. Choose progress over perfection. Choose progress, ladies and gentlemen, over perfection. Because progress, would you agree, Wendy, we can achieve progress every day.
Every day,
But we can't.
even if it's one little step, you can achieve progress every day. Find that 10% of grace that you can give yourself, right? If you get 70% of your task list done, 20% started, and then the 10% can wait till tomorrow or next week, like, wouldn't that make you feel a little bit more relaxed and a little happier, a little less pressured?
Yeah. You think to-do lists are kind of overrated sometimes? Because I think somebody gets a to-do list and they have like 20 things, right? As I think human nature, instead of putting what you can realistically do, we'll just say your to-do list says it should be 5, right? But you have 20. So right away, you already set yourself up to fail because you already said, well, let me overachieve today. So now you're really stressing yourself out instead of being okay, let me set something that's attainable. I'll stretch myself a little bit, but let me put 7, maybe not 5, but I'll put 7.
Mhm.
Is that a better approach, you think, just for daily activities, or just whether it's goals that we set daily for goal related, for work, or for just home stuff?
Well, to me, there's a little bit of gray area in there, right? Because some tasks are really quick and easy to do, and
Okay.
some tasks take longer, right? So what I suggest is once you make your to-do list for the day, then prioritize it,
Mm.
right? Prioritize what is the most important, what are the 3 or 4 most important things that you want to get done? And get those done first. Eat your vegetables before you get to your dessert, right? Get those done. And then anything else, then your second level of highest priority. And get those done second. And then if whatever doesn't get done, you won't be as upset not getting them done because you got your highest priority things done first.
So what happened to you when this epiphany came to you that I don't have to be perfect? What happened at a deeper level, would you say, when you got these numbers? And I love the numbers, right? 70, 20, 10. What happened to you when you found that I don't have to be perfect? What changed in the insight for Wendy? Walk us through that. And what did you do? Like what did you do when that old way of thinking wanted to come up? And what did you do to overcome that?
You know, I really kind of fed off of the energy without knowing that I was feeding off the energy because I wasn't in that space. But just sticking with that 70-20-10 and being such an accounting and numbers oriented person, it really gave me the parameters to work with. So what happened is my whole body and my whole energy shifted. And then I wasn't pressuring other people. And then things naturally, more organically got done, right? Because you're not forcing it to happen. You're allowing it to get done. And then it opened my mind to be able to think a little more freely. Being like, okay, well, this can't get done. What's another way? Like, how can we resolve it in a different way? You know? Um, and it created a more open line of communication with my coworkers. And because the communication now opened up, we found other solutions, right? When you're very stiff and you're very rigid and you're trying to force things to happen and force a circle into a box, and it doesn't work. But then once you relax and you look back and you open up the lines of communication and you open up the energy, then you're open up to different perspectives. Maybe the circle doesn't need to go in the box, in that box. Maybe it needs to go in this round box over here that you weren't looking at before.
So what you're saying maybe is in trying to be perfect, it's kind of, we become closed-minded, is what you're saying.
And tunnel visioned,
Mm,
right? Like a horse with its blinders on.
yes.
You're trying to force something in this direction that you're looking at, but you're missing all of these other opportunities out here.
Are you an aspiring speaker? Do you have a book that you've been wanting to write for months, maybe even years? Or are you an aspiring podcaster? You want to start that podcast like the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show and don't know where to start? Well, at Daniel Gomez Enterprises, we can help you do all three. We can help you become that paid speaker, share your story to the world, write your book, and get your podcast launched and help you produce it. We'd love to help you. Give us a call at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. We can help you become that paid speaker, write that book, and launch your podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call now. So in trying to be, so let me ask you this, but what surprised you the most, right? Because we're talking about this at work. Once you had this awakening, right? Your eyes open at work. Where did you realize, man, I didn't even realize I was kind of doing this in this other area of my life and you weren't even aware of it? That you were
Oh, you
trying to
mean
be
like
perfect.
at home with my friends and
Yes.
family, and trying to force my family into the thoughts and the habits and the imprints that I had, and putting expectations on them that they didn't even know that they were trying to live up to?
Oh, I love that. Say that again. So I will catch that. That's a boom moment right there. Sometimes
Putting
we
putting
set
expectations on other people that they don't even know that they're living up to because they don't know what expectations you're putting on them.
explain that deeper. I love that because that's so true. So many times we project our own beliefs, our own insecurities, our own chasing perfection on other people, and they don't even realize we're doing that to them. And then it causes tension in relationships.
Right. So in regards to relationships, what expectations do you have for your spouse that you have not communicated? Right. So if I, for example, somebody can set an expectation for their spouse that they're the cook. Right. So they may be busy all day at work and they set this expectation that their husband needs, or their spouse needs to cook that night, but they don't communicate it. And then when they get home and nothing's made for dinner, and now you got to figure it out, and you get upset because they didn't read your mind. Or if you expect to be loved in a certain way. A lot of people, I love the book, The 5 Love Languages, right? Because it helps people to realize how they want to receive and how they want to give love, right? A lot of people that don't read that book and don't understand is that maybe you have an expectation that the way you want to receive love is through touch or through words of affirmation or through gifts. But if you don't know that about yourself, how can you communicate that to somebody else and be like, this is my love language? When you give me words of affirmation, that makes me feel loved. But you're setting this expectation without telling them.
Yeah. Or what comes to mind is you don't, the other person doesn't know your love language because you don't know it, so you don't communicate it.
Right.
And then inside ourselves, we say, well, Wendy doesn't love me anymore, or
Right.
Wendy doesn't love me, or so and so doesn't, right?
Mhm.
Because we don't even know what our love language is.
Right.
I think mine, I can you have two? Because I would say,
Yeah.
I think mine are touch and affirmation, right? Just the fact of being appreciated, and I'm one of those that likes to hold hands. I think Me and Marty always hold hands wherever
Mhm.
we go, and we're 50 years old, and it's just like feel like teenagers, but it's like
I love it.
it's not habit. It's just like that's just who I am.
Yeah, yeah. I think you
Or
have,
or or,
I
or
think you have a primary, I think there's like a top three. You
yeah.
have your primary, and then you have your second and your third. So for me, I've learned that touch and words of affirmation, but also acts of service. Because for me, action speaks louder than words. So acts of service for me is my primary.
I could see that for you. It's like
Totally.
it's like that Pat Benatar song, right? Don't tell me you love me, show me.
Show me that you love me. There's so many people that do not act on their words.
Yeah,
So it's, I mean, words are important, don't get me wrong, but actions are so much more impactful.
yes. So
Yeah.
the light comes on,
Yes.
the 100% perfection is done. Now you got this new 70-20-10. So how did you go from that to who the Wendy you are today? And why in the hell did you want to become an entrepreneur and leave corporate America? What how did that transition happen? Because I think right now there's so many people that are trying to really, A, they're in the wrong position at work, B, they're not happy, and then they have an idea, a thought that they're not taking action, like you're saying, right? They say these words, I want to do this, I want to write a book, I want to be a speaker, I want to start my podcast, I want to start my own business, whatever it may be. I want to be a baker, maybe I want to be a beautician, but they never act, and they stay in that 9 to 5 that they're not happy with. What finally pushed you into like happen that now you're here and you're like, I'm the
Oh
spirit.
my gosh, that is a long story, so I will
Well, give
try.
us a short version.
I will try to keep it short so we don't take out the whole story. Um, so it wasn't a choice.
Mm,
I was fired in 2009, what they were calling restructuring back then. And it felt suffocating to go back to a cubicle. I didn't want to do that anymore. There was no thought process of, I want to be an entrepreneur all of a sudden, but I knew I wanted to do something different. And so I made a list of the things that I wanted my new career to have. And then I knew I couldn't afford a 4-year degree. So I looked at the vocational options, and massage therapy just kind of fit all the boxes. So of course I went to school and I started at a chain, just, new industry, get my feet wet, let's learn it
yeah.
before I try and go above and beyond. And it just naturally progressed into being my own entrepreneur because I am an anti-authoritarian. I don't like to be told what to do, like
Not
most
you.
entrepreneurs.
Well, I
I
love
very
it.
much take after my mother on that one. And
Yeah.
then it just kind of naturally progressed. And then when I got called after 12 years of building that business, I got called to just by God to
So,
close
so,
up
so, so
shop.
hold on real quick, because I want
Yeah.
somebody's going to learn a valuable lesson here.
Yes.
What was the biggest thing in your thought process that you had to change? Because you've been in corporate your whole life. Then you massage therapy comes, you take on, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can become a massage. What are two thought process that you really had to work on that you struggled with? Because you say it and it was sounds like an easy transition from
No.
America to therapist. What are two things that you really had to be intentional about in changing yourself and your thinking?
Um, so I will tell you the biggest drive was the fact that we were getting married in 2 years and we had a very low savings account. So I had a very strong drive to get through the schooling and to get the best grade that I can get and to learn as much as I can get and to just push myself into the industry. So there was no thinking. If I thought about it, there might have been an issue, but there was no thinking because of the drive and the adrenaline that was pushing me to do it. So the hardest things that I had to deal with was changing from a corporate paycheck to a sales paycheck.
Mm.
which is a huge shift. And then shifting from something that's consistent, where you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, to an industry that is seasonal. So not only am I going from a steady paycheck every 2 weeks, somebody else is paying me, I don't have to worry about it, to a sales paycheck that's seasonal that I have to go out and hustle for. That was the biggest shift. That was the biggest challenge that I had, because I mean, my finances were uprooted,
So
and
how
now
did
I
you
had
overcome
to.
that? Yeah, I mean that's a valid point because I think so many people they love the security of once a month, every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
whatever your pay scale is. But I think we can all agree, listening and watching the show, that in 2020 there's no guarantees either way because many people that thought they had a guaranteed, they didn't,
Mhm.
and there's no guarantee.
There is no. You know, that same company let go of a 25-year veteran on vacation. They called him on vacation after 25 years of service and let them go. There are no guarantees, whether you're in corporate world or an entrepreneur or anywhere in between. So, you know, being an entrepreneur, you really got to rely on yourself, and you have to have even if you're an employee, having different forms of income, so that if you lose one, you're not totally out. You don't have all your eggs in one basket. You
So, so, so
diversify.
so what did you learn about yourself in that moment? Because ladies and gentlemen, think about this. And I want to, this is what came to mind as you were saying it before you answered this question is Wendy was focused on, hey, I got a marriage, I got a wedding coming up, I need money. So she was driven on the result of raising that savings account to pay for the wedding.
Mhm.
Somebody right here, it's just, this is what comes to my little story, right? It's like if Wendy and Daniel decide, hey, let's take a trip from Denver to Vegas and we're driving. Well, we have to be at Vegas. We'll just say we have an event there with our community and we leave and we'll just say that there's a flat tire between Denver and Vegas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to stop, change the tire and go back to Denver. We're going to keep going forward because you change the tire, you keep going because that's the destination.
That's right.
And I think somebody listening to this, you need to write down, what is my destination? What is my destination that I'm working for? What is my destination what's the end result that I want? And I don't want to say your why because I think why is jaded, right? Everybody says what's your why? No, but what is the result you want in this particular moment in this season? And don't say a 5 year goal. No, like I think so many times people, their depth perception is wrong to what they can achieve, Wendy. And what I mean by that, say, hey, I want to earn $100,000. Great. By when? By December 31st. No, why not put May 5th? Why not put an awkward number in there? Change that depth perception. And what I mean by depth perception, you don't give yourself enough credit how quickly you can possibly do that. So you extend it out to give you right to make an excuse. Well, it's going to be in December. No, why not change your depth perception of what you can accomplish in a shorter amount of time?
Well, and that goes in along with what you said earlier, what we were talking about earlier, as far as long as you're making progress. You don't let that flat tire revert you back to Denver. You just fix the flat tire and you continue on with your progress. You continue on to your destination.
And I think that flat tire represents the thoughts that we have sometimes, right? We
Mhm.
let those thoughts linger and linger and linger because you don't know where you're going. You don't have that, hey, I have to make this money to pay for my wedding. So you're there basking and you're like, man, did I make that right decision? And then your tire gets flatter and flatter. And then next thing you know, you self-implode, you self-destruct, and you go back to the corporate life that you're not happy at. And it's just, wow, this is powerful. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. So the biggest tip that I got, so I called the president of one of the massage organizations, and I asked, because we ended up exchanging numbers, and I asked her, I'm like, how do you get through Because as soon as I got into that mode and I'm into hustle mode and all the thing, summer came, business dropped to a third, and I've got bills to pay. And I'm like, how do I handle this? How do I deal with this? And she's like, best thing I can tell you is that when summer hits and that lull hits, enjoy your family, enjoy your connections, enjoy your friends. Because when it picks back up, you're not going to have time. You're going to be back into hustle mode. So enjoy the things that you can when it's slow. And then when it picks back up, be all in and make that money and focus on what you're doing. So as the seasons change in your life, as the seasons change throughout the year and things shift, remember to focus on the things that are important in that season, in that moment.
Because so many times we focus on the petty stuff. We focus on
Absolutely.
negative, the
I
bad.
totally could have gone into that spiral. Oh my God, when I'm not making money and going into that stress factor and having that domino effect. Or I could have taken her advice and find the one thing that's bringing me joy right now until the money starts coming back in.
I love that. Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, write that down. Where do I need to change my focus? Maybe right now you're focusing on the negative, you're focusing on the bad. You're focusing maybe that you're right. This is your first or second year, third year of entrepreneurship of business, and the revenue just not there, but you're focusing on the negative aspect of it. And maybe it's God's way of saying, well, maybe this week I want you to spend time with your son. Maybe this time your daughter needs you. We never think about it like that. We think scarcity right away. We think negative right away. And like Wendy just said, maybe that's the time that you get to reflect and just really focus on your family. So where does your focus go when you're squeezed? Where does the focus go when maybe things ain't going your way? So Wendy, let me ask you this. What is the best business advice? What are two nuggets of wisdom that you've received that really helped you now that you've been in business longer? What's really helped you? What are two words of wisdom in business that you can give us?
Keep a positive attitude, right? Look for that 10% of grace and that 10% of positivity, right? As an entrepreneur, or even in life in general, when we go to accomplish a goal, we might get told no 10, 20, 100 times before we finally get that yes, right? So having that positive mind set and looking for the grace, looking for that little golden nugget amongst all the chaos is number one. Number two is keeping the peace inside. Because if you let the stress and the chaos and the broken washing machine and then the dryer dies and then the alternator goes out on the car and then and then the kids surprise you and you got to make 200 cupcakes for tomorrow for school, or whatever it is, if you let all that chaos take over the peace inside, the cupcakes aren't going to come out great, the car's never going to get fixed, all of the things, they're not going to happen, or they're going to continue to domino. Yeah. So finding a way to stay in touch with yourself, meditate, whatever it is that you do to keep that peace inside of you is that's top.
I love that. I heard exactly what Wendy just said, and I heard it like this, and it really spoke to me because I heard it recently. Embrace the pressure. Pressure is not a bad thing. Pressure is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that myself, just this beginning part of 2024, there's been a lot of pressure. You talk about pressure and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And sometimes you're like, man, you ask yourself, how long is this process gonna take, or is it worth it? Do we really want to expand? Do we really want to grow? But I heard somebody say the pressure is what makes you greater. And if you think about the pressure, if you think about a lump of coal doesn't become a diamond Until when? When it's put under pressure, and it's put under more pressure. And then the heat comes, and then the diamond is formed. And I had to remind myself of that these last couple of weeks, Wendy, because I can tell you that there was a great amount of pressure that I felt that I was under. And
Mhm.
not that it was bad, but it was just like so much things were just like stacked on top of me.
Yep.
And it was just pressure, like, man, like, God, what are you doing? But it's like working out. Before you can bench press 300 pounds, you got to be able to lift 250. Before you
Yep.
can bench press 250, you got to be able to lift 200. And then if 200 gets easy, well, then you put more weight to help with the resistance to get you stronger. I love what we're talking about. Let me ask you this. What is going to be the big goal? What is something big that Wendy's working for towards in 2024?
The big goal. That's a great question because I have a lot of big goals.
Well, what's one of them?
Um, my big goal is to get to 6 figures this year.
You're going to do it.
Yes.
It's easy.
Oh yeah.
You got this. Yeah.
Yeah. I have no doubt. It's just timing.
You got this. You know why? Because you bring value. And I think people so many times when I'm on calls and they're like they want to make six figures and I see what they do for a living or what they do for business. I'm like, well, you gotta, what's the value you're gonna bring to the marketplace? And many people they want to make right six-figure numbers or seven-figure or whatever, but don't worry, focus, of course, focus on the revenue, but focus on what's your profitability. Because I know people that are they claim their claim to fame is, oh, I'm making seven figures. Yeah, but you're losing seven figures, and I mean you're in the red, or I'm making eight figures and you're still in the red. So don't, ladies and gentlemen, don't get caught up in that revenue trap. The bottom line is, okay, what's my profitability? How much,
Yep.
where are my profits at? And I think that that's what really helped me is when I started my business 6 years ago is, okay, what's the bottom line? What's my profit? Because I'd rather make, right? I'd rather make seven figures instead of eight and my profitability be a lot higher than make eight and then you're losing money. Because I know many businesses that brag on the revenue aspect of it. And of course, revenue is important, but more important too, I think, is what your profitability is. And I know that you bring the value. So you're definitely going to hit six figures easy, Wendy.
Yeah. And profitability.
And profitability. Yeah.
I'm actually working with a client right now. Their business, they bring in $500,000 a year in business, but they're not making money. And so we're doing a lot of spiritual shifting, habits, imprints, what's important, reprioritizing, all kinds of other shifts in order to reorganize the business, right? Because you have to reorganize yourself before you can reorganize the business in order to make the business profitable.
Yeah. People don't realize that. It's like sometimes if you're the solopreneur, the small business owner, you're sometimes many times you're the issue. We gotta work on you. And they think, oh, it's the business, right? They put it on the business on the two employees. Well, who are the two or three or 10 employees being led by?
Who hired them? What kind of people are you hiring? Are they in alignment? If they're in alignment with you and it's not going well and they're not great employees, it's a reflection of you.
Yeah. I think so many times people don't take that they don't want to be accountable for that.
Yep.
But you're right. Who hired you? I don't know.
Who
Wendy,
trained you?
Wendy did.
Who trained you? Like,
Yes. So I know you wrote a book.
yes.
Tell us, where do you have a copy in front of you?
Of course I have a copy in front of me because,
Where can our
I'm an
audience find your
entrepreneur.
book? Yeah.
Although all you can see is my face and my title because of the background, but that's all right.
So
So,
the 70-20-10 rule. So go get that right now on Amazon. We'll have that in the show notes. And I want to ask you this. When Wendy gets under pressure, under stress, those character building days, I call them, what is a quote or a scripture that you rely on under times of adversity, Wendy?
peace. It is not meant to be in a place of calm, tranquility, quiet. Peace is meant to be within during noise, trouble, and hard work.
Say it again. That was nice.
Peace is not meant to be outside in the quiet and the calm and the tranquility. It's meant to be inside during trouble, hard work, and noise.
Wow. If somebody wants to get a hold of Wendy Watson, how do we get a hold of you, Wendy?
So my email is wendy@tbrspiritualhealth.com. My website is tbrspiritualhealth.com. And all of my social links are at TBR Spiritual Health.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. You're a great, great guest, and I love your energy. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll put all our information in the show notes. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're struggling in life and business and you need help, well, guess what? I want you to go to our website, themakingsofamillionairemind.com, and get your autographed copy of The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. Our book has helped thousands and thousands of people. And while you're there, get our online program, 27 powerful modules that are going to change your life, make a difference in you. And if you have a dream to become a speaker and just really grow your business. If it wasn't for speaking, our business wouldn't be where it is right now. We've grown tremendously because of speaking. I want to see you here at Sticker Shock Speaking Academy, March 8th and 9th in San Antonio, Texas. Give me a call, 210-663-5954. We'd love to host you at Sticker Shock. And thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making our show one of the top shows around the world. And thank you to our sponsor, Beyond Publishing. They do the ghostwriting. If you're looking for a ghostwriter for your next book, reach out to Michael D. Butler at beyondpublishing.net. Yes, we do book publishing, but I'm not a ghostwriter. I don't deal with that aspect of it. But Michael D., he's your man, Beyond Publishing. That's a wrap for this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you back here with another amazing episode next week of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is Daniel Gomez Inspires, and thank you for listening to our show today. Please share this episode with a friend, leave us a review, and subscribe to our show. And for listening to our show today, I want to give you a free gift. I want to invite you to our Millionaire Mind community. Text the word millionaire, that's millionaire, to 210-942-5059. Yes, join our community today and receive millionaire affirmations, inspirational quotes on a weekly basis. That's 210-942-5059. Text the word millionaire today and join our community. And once again, thank you for listening to our show.